Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
You can't use that word. Only we can use that word.
You're tuned in to the Nerf Herder Council, your source for Star Wars opinion, conversation, and debate. Featuring your hosts, JT.
I don't care. It's close enough. I'm not here to be accurate, god damn it. I'm here to just say it.
AJ.
They literally sneak out by hiding a girl under a giant trench coat like a Three Stooges gag. What the f***, Disney Plus? Come on now.
On this episode of the Nerf Herder Council, over the years there have been a lot of craptastic sequels made to legendary films. On this episode, we're not talking about those. We are talking about the incredible Top Gun Maverick. This is the Nerf Herder Council. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, as well as our Twitch page. And we are also live on the Facebook page and YouTube channel of the Virtual Cantina Network. We are live at those locations every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, guys, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you would like to get some awesome Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And if you would like to make yourself some customizable kick-ass Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And guys, real quick before we get started, the views of the Nerf Herder Council don't necessarily reflect those of the Virtual Cantina Network, and there could be some bad language on our show. So if you're not into that sort of shit, this is not the show for you. Oh, and there'll be spoilers for Top Gun, but it's like 40 years old, so shame on you if you haven't seen it. And there will also be spoilers for Top Gun Maverick, and that one's like, what, 4 years old? So yeah, you should have seen it. If you haven't, okay, well, now you're going to find out about it. And to help me explain it to you and explain why it is so effing good, my best friend and my co-host, AJ, what is up, man?
You ever have a giant belch that just like lives in your chest instead of actually coming out?
And we're off.
Dude, I'm in distress over here.
Nice. Look at Kale. Talk to me, geese. That is perfect. What's up, Kale, man?
We will accept any form of waterfowl, actually. It's okay.
I don't know. Should we?
We are drakes.
Ah, that's true. That is true. Man, I'm hoping to get through this show with a voice. It's starting to feel a little scratchy for some reason. I think it's like the allergies are starting because the weather's starting to turn. And I have one of our lone 4-hour shows of the year on Saturday, so that's always a good time to get a scratchy throat. So
that is not good, bruh.
I'll make it through. You know, somehow I always do. But yeah, so excited to talk about this because I think this movie is amazing. And I've wanted to talk about it for a while. I think we might have done like a review or something, but it kind of got me thinking a few episodes ago when I was doing my the whole JT's perfect movie list. And Top Gun was on there, the original. And it really got me thinking, and I went back and I watched Maverick again, which I have seen many times, of course. But I got to tell you, I was like, man, this might be like a perfect sequel to a perfect movie. Like, has that ever happened? Like, it's pretty difficult, man. It's pretty difficult to think of any. I mean, you could say, A New Hope and Empire. I mean, but other than that, I mean, I could argue some others, but I don't know if anybody would agree with me. So
I mean, your perfect movie list and this whole thing grew out of, let's be honest, we're fanboys for 80s movies. There's something that's just so like, I don't know if innocent's the right word, but there's just a vibe of like the 80s just won't die. Like the music, the pop culture in general is just like 40 years on, and it's still fun to talk about. It's still fun to watch. It's still fun to listen to. Like, I don't know what it is about that decade, man, but we were doing something right, and we ain't done it since. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm excited to talk about this too, because we're not like flashing back to like, okay, sorry, we're going to date ourselves here, guys. I'm not flashing back to the Power Rangers. Like, there's nothing about the 90s franchises that really is like, oh my God, that was the best time ever. So,
I'm trying to think, but I mean, there's some movies I love, and some that seem like 80s movies, but they actually came out in the 90s. But yeah, I think there's always going to be that nostalgia for the 80s, because I think there was a certain just fun and innocence.
Mm-hmm.
And, the bubble hadn't been popped yet. So,
like I mean, there's just a vibe to it. There's just a vibe to it. And this movie, amazingly enough, still, I mean, I won't call this thing original by any means. Like it retreads a lot of the beats of the first one, but that's okay because the first one was awesome. And doing it 40 years later and having it not seem completely out of touch is actually cool. So I think that's what I say about it.
I have a hard time saying that because it's, man, like when I think of a movie that like retreads the beats, like I always flash to immediately. I always flash to
Here Comes Force Awakens.
Exactly, The Force Awakens, like that.
I knew it, man. As
you're watching it, you're like, wait, I've seen this, and I didn't get that at all with Maverick. At least the first time I watched it. It's do they have some similarities? Yeah, if you go back and watch. I mean, I'm not going to deny it, but I don't think it's nearly as obvious. And I just think they did a fantastic job with it, especially given, the hype for it. You know what I mean? I mean, think about other sequels that we've had, and you remember more than I do, but, the second Coming to America, Coming number 2, America. Like, that was a follow-up, 30 plus years after the original, which was, iconic, and it was absolutely horrendously bad. I laughed literally once in that movie, and it sapped all of the energy and humor from the first one, and it was just god awful. The third Bill and Ted, I hate to say it, I wasn't a big fan, and I love Bill and Ted. It wasn't awful. I don't think it was as awful as everyone said it was, but I was definitely disappointed. So yeah.
How do you feel about these sort of movies that are specifically targeting the original audience? Like, this is not designed to win new fans to the franchise. It's all a continuation from a long time ago for everybody who's put on as many years as the characters have. Because your Bill and Ted example is perfect on that. It's like, it's not Bill and Ted trying to do a third chapter. It's Bill and Ted decades on from the story. And this is the same thing where it's Maverick decades on from where we left him last. So we're older as an audience and he's older as a character. And we're like, oh, good. We can relate to him because he's old like us.
Well, it's let me get some chat in here, because you actually kind of lead into like one of my very first points about the movie, ironically. Kale says, how do we sit with the long-running series like James Bond as sequels? Because technically, I could say a lot of them are perfect sequels to Dr. No, right? I think that's a little difficult, Kale, because there are so many. I mean, I think you'd have to go to the one right after, because otherwise you could say something like, like, I don't know, Return of the Jedi and a new Hope. So if you're gonna spread it out over time, I think it's got to be like pretty much right after. John Phillips, great to see you, man. He says T2 is a retread of the first Terminator with a bigger budget and just as awesome. See, I don't think that one's a retread.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot more there with T2. but I think T2 might be an example of a sequel that's like one of those rare sequels that's actually better than the original. And I love the original, but T2 is just untouchably good, man.
If you're off topic for a quick second, based on this, yeah. So Kale says, I don't know, I'd agree with that. T1 was a horror film, true. T2 is a blockbuster action film, also true. We covered this when we were talking about the Alien franchise. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ridley Scott did his own thing with the first one, and then James Cameron came in. I think the common thread here is, you know, James Cameron. For the second movie, but sorry that Belch is now trying to come out, so I'm trying to like have it not come out in an opportune time. But the one thing that was great about the 80s was that sequels rarely were just retreads of the first, whereas nowadays that's all anything is. Like as soon as the first thing is successful, they're like, do it again, it's content. Like in the 80s you had stuff like Gremlins, and then Gremlins 2, which was completely different.
Yeah,
you know, Gremlins first one was a B movie, and the second one was a creature feature comedy, basically.
Yeah.
You got stuff like I said, Terminator, Alien, both good examples there. Have changed up the format. Ghostbusters, even, you might say, to an extent, like the second Ghostbusters, they went like very family friendly and safe with it compared to the first one. The first one was, I mean, sorry, man, I'm glad you had that disclaimer, because there was a blowjob in the first one.
Yeah, true.
Ray Stantz got blown by a ghost. So we all forget that as kids, but yeah, that was in there. And then by the second one, we're like, nah, we got babies in here and we're just going to be all PG and change up the formula. Even video games, you know, like The Legend of Zelda was awesome. And then along comes Link's Awakening, and totally different. It's not even the same genre. It's a side scroller. And, you know, Super Mario Brothers 2, and I could go on and on and on, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. Yeah. Point is, in the 80s, people took risks, and nowadays, if you're going to do a long-awaited sequel, it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be member berries galore.
Well, but I mean, can you really do it any other way? I mean, especially, I mean, you know, something like Top Gun Maverick. Like, Top Gun is legendary. You can't go in there and have it be like Maverick opens a restaurant. It's like, I mean, everyone's like, what the fuck is that? Our good buddy Thrasher tuning in. Great to see you, man.
Pete Mitchell's Wings and Things. Why not?
Exactly. Like he says, at first I was skeptical about watching Maverick, but this weekend I started it and it is perfect so far. I believe Tom Cruise knows what he's doing. He created content for the fans. The music is on point too. Still have about an hour left, but I'm loving it. Yeah. See, I mean, Mark is getting it. It's the first time he's gone through it. And I mean, they did such a phenomenal job. And, you know, they had to do the callbacks and the member berries, as you like to say. But I thought they did it incredibly tastefully. And I've got that. And, you know, I took some show notes, you know, so we'll talk about, you know, I have three main things, which is the plot, the characters, and the nostalgia, you know, the member berries. So
it took 10 years, but you finally grew up. Show prep, notes. I'm so proud of you, man.
Well, I came up with the damn topic, and I figured that you would just come in and be like, "Oh, what are we doing?" So I'm good. So, but yeah, I mean,
I want to set the stage, because I think, like you said, this was a surprisingly important movie. You wouldn't think a Top Gun movie was a big deal, but remember when it came out? This thing was delayed because it was supposed to come out during COVID when theaters were shut. And I think Tom Cruise was the guy who said, no, we're going to wait till theaters are open. This is not going direct to streaming.
Yeah.
And that was like part of the hype was like, shit, we get to go back to movie theaters and we've got a feel-good summer blockbuster to go do it with after all this time. Like, man, you saw it, like, I'm guessing probably like opening weekend, opening day, something like that.
Oh yeah, it was the day after it opened. It was and actually this is part of it. It's kind of like our story about episode 3 back in 2005. Like me and the guys in my band are just like, especially the two guitar players, are absolutely enormous Top Gun fans. And I think we had a show the day after it came out, and I was like, dude, we have to be in Lima anyway. We're all going to fucking Top Gun before we go to the show. So we all got together. We're all sitting there nerding out on Top Gun, man. And to your point, Tom Cruise had like a little blurb at the beginning where he's just gave a little speech to everybody. He's like, hey, thanks for coming and seeing movies in the theater again. This was delayed. This is how I wanted it to be seen, was on the big screen. So thank you for supporting creativity and yada yada. So he did that. So
by the way, I'm fully on board with that message. This whole thing of like, I could just watch it at home. A movie theater is a special experience, especially for a movie like this.
Yeah,
you need the biggest screen. You need the loudest speakers. Yeah, everything about it. I love going to see movies. It's awesome. Anyway, so that sets the stage. This movie was important at the time because we all needed to go to the movies.
Yes. So, Kale, and that night your guitarist played the Top Gun anthem for his guitar solo. If he knew it, it would have been played. And don't think we haven't talked about it since. So, yeah.
Can you imagine if, spoiler for the movie, can you imagine if Maverick died in this? And if it was like an episode 7 thing where like you had to watch Han Solo die and then go on stage and play a show? you were so hyped to like play the show and see this movie. And can you imagine if it was just like a downer of like a bittersweet ending?
I would have bitched on stage. I don't care if I spoiled it. It would have been worth it.
We're called Brother Believe Me. My childhood is dead. There is no God.
Yeah.
This is Boys of Summer. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Here's Sex on Fire.
Your sex is on fire like Pete Maverick's plane.
Right.
His name is Pete Maverick, by the way.
There you go. All right. So a couple quick notes that I had about the movie is that I really enjoy the fact that right off the bat they show that Maverick still got it. Like he's in his 60s, you know what I mean? Like, but right when they first show him in the hangar, he's got a plate of food or something, and he's got a little table and just a chair. And instead of him just walking to the front of the chair and sitting down, I don't know if you caught this, but he lifts his leg over the chair and then sits down. So it's like it shows that he's nimble, So it's like, oh, and then the very next shot is him like all muscular in a t-shirt, like wrenching on his own plane. So it's like, I
wish your in-jokes from Star Trek, because that's called the Riker maneuver.
Okay.
The guy famously, every time he sits in a chair, he swings his leg over the top of it first. So I missed the Riker maneuver. I don't know if anyone in the audience is going to get that joke, but watch some Next Generation. You'll see it all the time. Anyway.
Hey, why are our names not on the screen? Nobody's going to know who the hell we are. What's the matter with you? What did you do?
No one knows who the hell we are anyway.
What the hell did you do? But yeah, so they immediately established that he's
spry.
Yeah, that he's still got it. He's not like an old man, which I thought was pretty cool. It's kind of like one of those, he's older, but he's still kind of got it sorts of things, So they immediately established it's not going to be an old man story.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Kale's right. He said John would have beaten the shit out of a heckler if he saw Force Awakens an hour before the show. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool. And the whole opening scene was just awesome. It kind of reminded me of what they did in Dial of Destiny, where they set it up with this big opening, like you're like, okay, like this is what I came to see. Like they established right off the rip, like, oh, you want Top Gun? Well, here's some Top Gun for you. So I like that a lot. The one thing that I really appreciate is that the movie never gets cheesy. Like you never get the eye roll from it, dude. You don't. And if you did, then you're wrong, and you can just get off the fucking show now, because you are completely and utterly wrong. If you were like, oh, like no. Like,
how is it not cheesy that they just happen to have an F-14 laying around that they can fly away in at the end?
What did I just say? What did I just say?
How is it not cheesy that they play football on the beach, almost like volleyball?
Dude,
How is it not cheesy that there's a classic Porsche involved, almost like Charlie drove in the first movie?
You know something? All right. You know what? You rip on Kenobi. You're ripping on Maverick.
I'm not ripping on it. I'm just disagreeing that it's not cheesy. I'm agreeing that it's good. I'm just saying that you're wrong for saying it's not cheesy.
It doesn't get into eye roll territory.
It could be cheesy and good.
But it doesn't get into the eye roll territory. That's what I'm saying. Like in Force Awakens when they're like, oh, it's like the Death Star. No, it's bigger. Look, you're like, give me a fucking break.
I don't know. I have a note. I took notes while I was watching it too. And I've got a note here that says, this final act is bonkers and cheesy AF, but I still don't care.
It is amazing and very well written. Thank you very much.
I also put, it's so painfully obvious that the plot will hinge on Maverick and Rooster teaming up, and I absolutely do not care that it is.
So as
I'm saying this stuff could be telegraphed, it could be cheesy as hell, and still be good.
But
to
telegraph,
say that it's not cheesy is bullshit.
It's not cheesy. It works. Contextually, it works. It's not just shoehorned in there. Like, dude, it's like I said, like I just said the example from The Force Awakens. Oh, no, the Death Star. No, this is bigger. And they show like that's the same goddamn thing. So you go, give me a break. You never have that, oh, give me a break moment here. It's an enjoyable movie written very, very well. Okay? And they even say with the F-14s when they're going over the planes at the base that they're hitting, oh, there's these kinds of things, even a couple old F-14s. So they even say that it's there. So
yeah. Now, okay. Do you remember back to your first viewing of the movie? Because I want to know something.
Of course.
When they name dropped F-14s, did you instantly in your brain go, "They're gonna fly one"? Because I did.
I didn't. No.
There is no fucking way. This movie was so beat for beat, like on brand for Top Gun, which is weird to say. There's only one movie prior, but there was no way in hell that they were going to fight against F-14s. Like, oh, role reversal. The F-14s are the bad guys now. No, I knew sure as shit they were going to find a way to put Tom Cruise in an F-14 again. It was so obvious. That's cheese.
I didn't. Because all they're doing is talking about next gen fighters and all this, and they're like, okay, well,
simpleton.
Sure. Because all they're doing is talking about the F-18s and going, yeah, they're not as good as next gen fighters. But an F-18 is what, like 40 years more modern now than an F-14? But he's going to get back in an F-14? Like, no, I didn't. It was just, to me, honestly, I thought it was like one of those awesome little Easter eggs. Oh, F-14, dude, check it out. That's what I thought, especially as the movie went on. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't eye roll. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you don't have those moments of, come on.
Okay, like, so eye roll means bad cheesy. This is good cheesy.
All right, however you want to define it.
The Death Star comparison in Force Awakens is eye roll. That is bad cheesy.
Are you going to say then that it's also cheesy that they managed to write Val Kilmer's real life health issues into the plot to make it make sense in the movie? Okay.
No, I gave props for that. I did write. Did they really need to kill Iceman? Like he could have just been so sick that he couldn't help Maverick anymore. I don't think they needed to actually like kill him.
But it was brilliant because Iceman was the only reason he had a career. And then all of a sudden, and this guy wants, this Admiral, Cyclone. He wants nothing to do with him. And the second that, Iceman's in the ground, he's like, yep, you're grounded. See ya. F you.
Well, yeah, I get that, but they didn't have to literally put him in the ground to do it. They could have just found another way that he couldn't help Maverick anymore.
Oh, he's in the hospital. So I'm gonna. So basically, you wanted the Admiral to like be an ass and like supersede the orders of the standing Admiral.
Yeah, say he's like in a coma or I don't know.
No, your way doesn't work. See, now I'm against you. That's what you have done. I'm against you, and I'm going to prove you wrong.
So is this like Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Empire Strikes Back going like, if you face Vader, you will do it alone. I cannot help you.
Yes.
It was Jedi, I think.
It's funny. It's funny you make the comparison to Obi-Wan Kenobi, considering you were so goddamn ass backwards wrong on that show too.
Well, I'm saying, like, wasn't it convenient that the Force Ghost apparently couldn't go to wherever the hell the fight was going to be to help Luke Skywalker? Like, there are ways to write characters out without actually having to kill them to do it.
I thought it was great. Kale says, I kind of knew Mav would end up in an F-14, but I didn't know it would happen the way it did, and I liked the way it was. Yes. He said, I thought it was going to be like he shows up in an F-14 as the cavalry, and it's an old beats new BS plot move. The way it actually was perfect. Yes. Yeah.
So I agree with Kale. I thought that if he was going to, especially when the younger crew wasn't getting it, that he would like show up in an older plane and be like, look, I can do it. But yeah, so the way they did it was semi-novel, but as soon as they even mentioned an F-14 being in existence, I'm like, yeah, he's going to fly that. He's totally going to fly that. And I also knew, based on the other thing with Rooster, I'm like, okay. And of course he's going to fly it with Goose's son. It's just got to happen. But that's what I'm saying, though, dude. It's like we talked about this. You're having fun at a movie when it's predictable and you don't care, when it just pays off your expectations.
So, full disclosure, we might have an episode coming up with a couple of the guys on the VCN because they're of the opinion that Ghostbusters Afterlife is a better sequel than Maverick. And I'm starting to think, AJ, it's going to be, instead of a 2-on-2, it's going to be 1-on-3. I'm thinking AJ's making a heel turn and going and siding with them. I really am thinking that. So, but, we'll see.
Sorry, I glitched out there for a second. What? You I don't know that they think that, and no way in hell would I side with that. Anyway, continue talking about Maverick because it's a better movie.
Yes, they did say that, and yeah, I think we're going to do that episode so we can prove them wrong.
We need to amend the disclaimer at the start of this show. We need to say that the views of the Nerf Herder the views of the Virtual Cantina Network do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nerf Herder Council.
Right? Do it in the reverse.
Come on now. Afterlife, look, I like Afterlife well enough, but it does not hold a candle to Top Gun Maverick. All right, yes, continue.
I would agree. So I have one more note, and we'll get into the plot and the other stuff. So I did note that it doesn't have the humor the first one does, but it doesn't take away from it, and I also think that's actually a good thing, because I think that was something that was really kind of one of the hallmarks of the movie. Think about how eminently quotable it is, and I think if they tried to go back to that, it would just feel like trying too hard. So I like that they didn't do that. So I was a big fan of that. So
they had a hard time with that too, because it's supposed to be about Maverick, but in the first movie he was part of the young hotshot fighter pilots, so all of the action revolved around him. In this one, he's supposed to be playing a supporting character to the hotshot pilots that are going to fly the mission. So yeah, like the humor and stuff would have come from, and it did in the beginning, it came from the interaction of the young pilots going back and forth, like Maverick and Goose and Iceman and Merlin and Cougar and all them did in the first one. So yeah, you can't focus on the guy who's actually in a supporting role and still build camaraderie and stuff and whatnot. Like that is what, okay. What did you think of the younger cast, or the younger characters, I should say?
Well, let's do characters before plot then. I thought they were good. I thought that it was difficult. I thought it was difficult, and I want to hear your thoughts, but the reason I ask is because they are not the main characters in this one. So it's difficult because they're supposed to do all the action, but they're not the focus. So continue. Yeah, I was they're clearly not the focus, but you did care about the outcome. I wouldn't say like there was some huge emotional stakes there. Like if, obviously with Rooster it's different, but if Payback or Coyote bites it, you're like, oh boy, that sucks. That's Cougar and Merlin, yeah. Or Hollywood and Wolfman, I think. Yes. Yep. Hollywood and Wolfman, yes. So yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was awesome that they had to like who are you? Bob. No, your call sign. Bob. That was awesome. Damn it.
You stole. I was going to ask who your favorite of the young crew was, and I was going to answer Bob. So,
well, as soon as
who
you
is
said
your
his name
favorite?
is Bob, yeah, you got to go with Bob. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, my name is
thought
Jim, but there are some who call me Jim.
Yeah, no, I like the new cast. I didn't really feel like they were cannon fodder. So, you knew there were stakes there. So, Hangman obviously was kind of like the new Ice. So you kind of had that dynamic going on.
Very much. Yeah, that was pretty obvious.
Yeah. So Hondo was a great character. I liked how he was kind of like, kind of along for the ride with Maverick wherever he went. So that was pretty cool. Obviously Rooster, great addition. I mean, I guess you could say it's a little obvious to have Goose's son, but in a way you didn't really have to have that. I mean, it provides the emotional stakes, but I think you could have written a good story without him. I think if you tried, it makes it better, obviously, having a Rooster, but I mean, would you agree with that?
I hadn't thought of that before. I don't know. So much of that final act after they got shot down hinges on that. And I mean, it's a thread through the whole movie. I don't know what's really left of the personal stakes without Goose's son involved. Otherwise, it's just, well, Maverick's old. Everyone thinks that he needs to teach instead of fly. And then it turns out he's got to fly instead. So,
yeah,
I don't know, like him busting the balls of Goose's son and the whole subplot of like he kept him from flying in the first place. Like, I don't know. There's so much of the movie that hinges around that dynamic. I don't know what you would fill that time with instead. Like, what plot thread would you pick up and develop more if not that one?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I just feel like the writing in this was so strong that even though it's kind of, I could see it working without Rooster. I don't think it would be as good, but I think it could have worked because I mean I thot they really came up with a really quality story. So which we'll get to. But
are you saying you come to snuff the Rooster?
Alice in Chains references. Let's go. those will never fade. So
that's in a nutshell.
Oh my god! Yeah, we'll be here forever if we do that. But
yeah, no excuses. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I like the new characters. I mean, like they do feel like kids, but obviously you can tell that they're skilled. Like they don't make it to where it's all about Maverick's so much better than them. You know what I mean? So, I thought they did a good job of balancing that. So I liked it, because they said, oh, they're all the top of their class. They immediately kind of know what they're doing. It's just Maverick is like,
good point. But I would have liked to see more time of them being on top because we got told, not shown, that they were the best of the best. They come in like, oh yeah, he's the only Navy pilot who's actually got an active kill. And this guy did this and she did that. And then all we see them do is lose to Maverick over and over again. So I would have liked to have seen like maybe like Maverick gets surprised because maybe he is a little old or slow or out of touch or whatever. And they pull a maneuver on him. He's like, holy shit, I didn't know you could do that. Like I would like to have seen that they had their own skills that he couldn't beat or at least didn't know of,
I mean, I could see that. Don't you think that would kind of take away from, well, Maverick's got to teach him. It's like, but we've just shown that these kids are better than him. Like that, wouldn't it make it kind of unbelievable then that he's got to teach him stuff?
Well, they don't have to know everything, but they could show that he's been a test pilot for how long now and whatnot. Like it's totally plausible that he doesn't know how to maximize the use of the modern aircraft, for example, something like that, where it would at least show like, because the first one was all hinged around like Maverick had to learn teamwork. He had to learn to count on his team. And then what does he do in this one? He tries to teach them and fails and then has to run the mission himself because even at his age, he can do it better than them. Like that. That's the one thing where I would love to have seen some way that like they could have helped him in a surprising way more than just, well, yeah, we came back for you.
Well, but I think they did a good job explaining it. I mean, the reason they wanted him to teach it is because it had like 3 or 4 specific difficult things that he had done in real world experience,
Mhm.
but he's like never in one mission. So it's like,
But
he's,
right.
you know,
So he sized it up. He sized up the mission. He's like, look, this is going to suck and be nearly impossible. And so is this, and this. And it would have been nice if like one of the hotshot pilots was like, oh, I have an idea. Like it would have been better because they had that whole subplot of like Maverick plotted it out. Maverick could fly it, but no one could fly it with him.
yeah.
Like it would have been nice if one of them came up with an idea. It was like, but here's how we can.
Okay. I mean, okay. I'll give you that. No, I like them. I think the most brilliant, quote unquote, new character was Penny Benjamin.
Yes.
That was, I mean, when we were in the theater watching it, like I said, my you know, especially my 2 guitar players and I just quote this movie relentlessly. And the way that it was so Rogue One-ish, the way they brought her in as the love interest, because Rogue One is, you know, based off one line in the opening crawl and A New Hope.
Yeah.
And the Penny Benjamin character in this movie is based off of one line of dialogue, you know, part of a line of dialogue in the original movies.
One
like,
admiral's daughter.
Yeah, a history of high-speed passes over 5 air control towers and 1 admiral's daughter. And the best part of it all was I was sitting next to Wheeler, one of them. Yeah, and he leads over to me. He goes, Penny Benjamin, and I go, and you asshole, you're lucky to be here. So I mean, it played right into the movie quote just by us going Penny Benjamin. So as soon as they said the name, I was like, did they really just bring in Penny Benjamin as the love interest? Like, you can't do it any better than that. So
No, that was perfect. That is a perfect like callback that is not super obvious because you didn't have to pull that string, but they did.
yeah.
So it's way better than if they had like invented some love interest that we had never met before or heard mentioned. When the whole movie is all talking about like basically like it's almost like the character was like in suspended animation from the first
right.
movie to the second. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
you're not gonna be like, oh, this love of his life that he met just after the first movie. Like, no.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring it back.
He and Charlie broke up, and then he just went out to the Top Gun bar and found another chick and saying, you've lost that loving feeling, and now he's with her or has been, whatever. Like, no.
Oh, Jenny
So-
Smith, good to see you.
Right. Yeah, but I think that's one of those instances like I'm talking about that it wasn't eye roll. Like they brought back something from the past, and it wasn't. You're like, oh God, seriously, So it was awesome. It was very, very well done. So I love that they brought her in. I thought it was a great way to do things. So I mean, in general, overall, I thought the characters were really, really good. You had the admirals that were against them, and you had Iceman in there. And as I said, writing Val Kilmer's real life health issues into the plot was just a stroke of brilliance, I think. And then it added poignancy to when he actually spoke a few lines. So I thought that was a really emotional scene. So yeah, I just thought it was great all the way around. I actually gave a shit about all of them. I didn't have a problem with any of them. And I thought it was great casting and great writing.
Yeah, my comment on the Iceman scene was that it hits hard, obviously, knowing that Val Kilmer has or had legit medical issue going on. So to write into the character is perfect. I mean, how else are you going to bring the character in? You're going to like CGI or like AI his dialogue or something? Like, no. Like, let the guy do what he can and write it into the movie. And then as talking about good cheese again, the football scene on the beach immediately follows the funeral. And that is, I mean, after a scene like that, where everybody is, the whole room is brought down by that, because we know we're not just watching a character pass away. We're very aware of the actor behind it. You got to bring it up. And of course, what better scene to follow it than, a callback to the cheesy volleyball scene.
I don't know
And,
why
you
you
know,
think it's cheesy.
And we get to, all feel like dog shit because Tom Cruise is older than us and looks a ton better than us still, and all that. But
At least
you
you
notice
look
Bob
like
kept the shirt
I
on.
do.
I'm just happy that Bob kept the shirt on. Yeah, if one guy's got to be like the unfit guy, it's got to be Bob.
Watch, he's the one guy that was ripped more than anybody else.
Right.
He's like negative 2% body fat guy. They're like, you actually look too good. Like, we can't, Bob.
Right.
Bob, you got to keep your shirt on, dude. Like, just go stand next to Hondo. You'll be the shirt guys. But so yeah, I mean, did you have a problem with any of the new characters, or what did you think of that in general?
I didn't really have a problem with the new characters. In fact, actually, I think that was, if I have to have a complaint, it's that I think they had some good characters and they just didn't do as much as they could with them. I don't know if there's like spin-off potential or something, but they implied a dynamic, like everybody knew each other and everyone had like a niche, but we never really got to see it.
Okay.
So I think they could have done more with it, but I don't know how that would have worked without detracting from Maverick's story.
Okay. All right. Well, let's dig into the plot a little bit then, because I thought the writing was absolutely brilliant. The way that they brought up certain things and paid certain things off, like, I just thought it was incredibly smooth. Like I said, I mean, dude, like, full disclosure, I left, like, as the movie was going on, it just got better and better for me. And I'm sitting there going, I can't even believe how good this is. Because you know how it is when you go to one of these movies that it's been forever, since and the original is so built up in your mind. You're just going, oh God, please be good, but expecting it pretty much to probably be crappy. And if you come out of it and it's okay, you feel like that's a success. This movie to me was awesome. I was like, this is really good. So,
yeah,
and I
think double hype. It had, all the decades of buildup and then the delay from COVID. It's like, oh my God, this better be good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought the first thing that I noted, like, I think that it's really good that it isn't just Maverick teaching pilots at Top Gun. Like, just basically him coming back as an instructor and them going through, the fighter weapons school, but he's the teacher instead of the student. I mean, I get it that, it kind of, in a way, like you said, it mirrors it a little bit, but having an actual real world mission as the reasoning for it was a really cool way to kind of, put him in that teacher type of a role. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was done really, really well. I thought it was cool because, again, instead of just rehashing an old plot point, I mean, you say it kind of mirrors it a little bit, but I say it gives it stakes right off the bat. It's not just a ha fun. Let's see if they, let's have these new kids, do the funny stuff and go hit on women and all that. No, it's like, no, you dudes are, you're going out in the real world, and then they say, Tom Cruise, when he first looks at it, he's like, someone's not coming back from this. So right off the bat that it's more serious, which I thought was a really good thing to do. So
yeah, and it makes sense for the character too. Like, clearly Maverick has stayed in the cockpit. He wasn't a teacher at Top Gun. He didn't choose to go on to that role. Like, he just, and they kind of make fun of him for it. They're like, you end up stuck. They're like, dude, you should have been a 2-star admiral at minimum by now, and you're still a captain. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And it's like the Kirk storyline in the movies, where it's like, he's where he wants to be. Like, he doesn't want to move up to admiral. He doesn't want to be a teacher. He wants to fly planes. So he does. And the only thing that gets him into a teaching role is, okay, we need someone who knows how to fly planes in the shittiest of circumstances. So who do we have that can actually tell that story?
Right.
That's our guy.
Well, yeah. Well, and he even says, like, yeah, like, I was a teacher at Top Gun, but I washed out after 2 months. Like, it just,
like, he tried.
Yeah. Kale says, yeah, actually, I really agree with you there, John. If he'd just been teaching the Top Gun program, it would have been bland. Yeah, and that leads me to my next note. I know that you said it's kind of a rehash in spots, AJ, but my next, I think it hits the Top Gun notes that you want it to hit, but I think it freshens things up. You know, like I said, like when I was watching it, my mind was going, this is different from the original. And I get that you can go back and nitpick and this, that, and the other. But I think if on your initial viewing, it's not obvious to you, I think that's a good thing. And I think that means they did it right. I really like that.
I think they did a good job in the intro scenes of mixing in. You talk about like a way to mix in nostalgia in an organic way. Like they were trying to show that, like I said, they kind of ripped on him. John Hamm's character, whatever that admiral's name was, ripped on him. Cyclone. Yeah, Cyclone ripped on him like, dude, you should have been much farther along in your career by now. So they were trying to harp on the fact that, like, he's not where he should be based on his tenure. And what did we see? We saw him basically pulling the same shit with the test flight, you know, defying orders and trying to be the smartest guy in the room and all that kind of stuff. We saw him grab his old jacket. We saw him dust off the 1980s Kawasaki. Like that stuff could have been like just for the fans, but it actually illustrated the point of like, yeah, don't you think he would have had a new bike and a new jacket by now? And he's got pictures of Goose still up in his thing after, 30, 40 years, whatever it's been. Like, yeah, he's stuck. He's stuck as a character, and that's the whole point. So they were able to call in nostalgia, but actually have it support the plot instead of undermine it, which I thought was really cool.
No, I completely agree, man. I have to go back to the mission thing, because I really think that they did a great job of making it have enormous stakes. You know, I mean, that was kind of like hanging over it the whole time in a really good way. You know, I thought you're going, okay, how serious is this? And there's like, oh, life and death, and nobody can finish it. And, you know, the whole, if you go too high 1 quick second, you're going to get shot down immediately type of thing. I think it balanced perfectly against the character stuff, because I think in looking back, if I put the two movies side by side, I think the first film was more character driven, because you kind of tend to, you're like, oh, there's some cool dogfights, but you think a lot more about the characters. You think about Maverick and Iceman and their interplay and stuff like that, and Maverick and Goose and all that kind of thing, Viper. And in this one, I think the plane stuff and the mission, I think is more to the forefront. So I think it's more equally balanced, because I think there's a little bit more of that, and then what Maverick's dealing with, more so than all the interplay between the characters. So I thought that was really cool, because it is kind of different from the first movie. So I like that they did that. You know, it kind of it takes your mind off of, okay, are they just rehashing the original Top Gun? It's like, oh shit, there's something serious going on here. So I liked it. I thought that was a really good way to do it. I thought that was a good way to distract you from trying to figure out, as you said, like, you know, those movie quote unquote fans that we always talk about, that are not there to have a good time. Apparently they're there to pick everything apart. So
that is something I liked. Like, the mission was clear from the start, instead of the original, which it's hard to point out or say anything negative about the original, but the original was all about like getting through flight school, just getting through Top Gun. And then all of a sudden, holy shit, there's a mission critical thing, and we've got to send our pilots up immediately and with no prep. Like, you know, this one was like, no, the threat's there from the start, and now we have the whole movie to build up to executing that mission.
Yeah.
It's a very different kind of format. And I really like that, to your point. Like, it's good to know the stakes up front, so then as they're going through all this stuff, we know why it matters so much.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect way to phrase it, man. The next thing that I noted, I think, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but you know, they make Maverick look smarter than the people above him, like the admirals and stuff. But I think they do it in a very kind of subtle way. It's not, you know, where it's clear Maverick knows what he's doing, and apparently these admirals are just morons. Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of like, you know, they know what they're doing, but you know, he'll say something, and then they'll kind of look at each other real quick, like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. So he's not like belittling them, or, you know, they're not coming across as like complete and total buffoons. It's, you know, I think it's done very subtly, and I thought that was really, really cool too.
Yeah, there's such a trope, right, where God, so many Star Trek references, but there's so many examples where like the captain knows what's up, whether it's Kirk or Picard or whatever, but the admirals don't have a fucking clue. And that's the thing. It's like, oh well, yeah, they're above us in the food chain, but they're kind of idiots. They don't really know what's going on. And I like in this where like they're both right. Like, you know, Maverick points out some things with the mission prep and like, you know, the hard deck is dumb because we're not going to be flying at that height, and that makes perfect sense. But they're like, yeah, but we don't want our pilots killed on a training mission, so we put these safeguards in place for a reason. Stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, Admiral made a good point. Okay, so the brass is not a bunch of morons, to your point. It's nice to know that someone in charge actually has a clue instead of just like, oh my God, how do they get to be an admiral? They're so bad at their job. Like, no, they're good at their job. They just have a different outlook than Maverick does, and they got to work together and figure it out.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that, man. It just, you know, again, I like the interplay there, and I like that, you know, they kind of I like that they don't make the admirals look like buffoons. I like that there's not this, you know, and throughout the whole movie, there's not like this Maverick is God type of thing. It's like, yeah, he's better than people, but they don't just make everybody else look shitty to make that happen. You know, everybody else looks like they can hold their own. It's just he's that little bit better. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was really well handled.
Yeah, like it looked like everybody was competent at their jobs, but this particular mission had needed a particular set of skills, you know. And Maverick was the guy for the job. So it wasn't like everybody was a moron and thank God Maverick showed up. It was like, oh, we're doing all right, but okay, this is something that Maverick can help us with. He's got experience here.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's so easy in these kind of movies. You know, we saw it with Dial of Destiny, and we've seen it in, again, Star Trek, and all these movies where you bring these characters, or more specifically the actors, back after so long, and they always play this angle of like, old man's out of touch, he can't hack it anymore. And in this case, it was not. I never felt like they were there. There was never a moment like where it paused and was like, oh man, I used to do that so much easier 30 years ago, or boy, 30 years ago I knew what was up, and I'm just out of touch now. You know, like. Like the fact that they showed Maverick immediately being a test pilot for like a brand new aircraft, like, okay, so he's still relevant. He's just doing something else now. And I like that a lot better than being like, oh yeah, this guy's totally out of touch. But holy crap, in this one case, he's just better than everybody all of a sudden.
Yeah.
No, he's still got skills the whole time.
Yeah, dusting off the old relic, and then he's like, oh, I'm awesome again. Like, okay, that's
right. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I buy into that, but
unless there's an F-14 to fly, in which case, holy shit, good thing he was around, right?
I swear to God, I'm coming through this computer screen at you. Oh, seriously.
I love.
But anyway, so I also thought that the way, again, something we touched on, but a little more detail here. I love the way that they got Maverick back into flying. You know, like in the middle of the movie. I mean, because I just thought it was so cool. Like, you know, they're like, you know, Ice dies, and the very first thing they do is ground him, you know, and he's like, you know, they have that interplay between, you know, Maverick and Cyclone, and he basically says like, you know, Maverick says, well, they're not ready to fly this mission. He's like, well, that was your job to get them ready to fly this mission. All you've done is shown them that it can't be done. So then they're like, "Hey, you're grounded. Get the F out. Like, piss off." So then the very next scene, you know, Cyclone's like, "Yeah, we're raising the hard deck to like 300 feet. Instead of 2.5 minutes, it's 4 minutes." And they're all like, "Dude, we're gonna get shot down. Like, the hell is he doing?" Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you know, because Maverick was told, "Well, you didn't show them it could be done." All of a sudden, they're like, there he is on the screen. He's doing the course. And, you know, instead of 2.5 minutes, he sets his own to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And, you know, down at the original's really low hard deck, and just zips through and gets it done. I thought that was awesome. It's like, and it, you know, and then they have to make the decision to like, okay, now you're not going to come back and show them you're going to lead this thing. Like, I thought that was so cool. Because
the one thing I would have liked to have seen is that I would have liked to have seen him fail the climb out, because they're talking about like, oh my God, the G-forces, like no one can withstand this. That would have been I think that would have been a good moment to show like, all right, dude, you've got the skills to get in there, but sorry, the age of your body cannot withstand this. But the younger guys, now that you've shown them it can be done, they can. And then find a reason that like in the heat of the moment, he's able to pull through anyway or something. But like, you know, like put something in there that says there is an advantage to being their age instead of his age.
Well, but the problem is they already showed in the opening scene that he can go, you know, Mach 10. Like he can do this crazy shit. So I don't think that would have worked as much. Like, wait a minute, he can do this crazy thing at the beginning, but he can't, you know, I don't know how that would have gone over. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I just don't know how that would have landed. No pun intended.
I don't know if they really talked about what kind of G-forces he was pulling while flying that, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. They're only talking.
Can we go back to the opening scene for a second, though?
No, we already talked about
I really enjoyed it.
So, okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So if I'm going to say something nice about it, then we can go back. Okay, I see how the show goes. Okay. You're talking about the comedy, though, and how it, like, you know, it comes in and out, and it's much more front-loaded, of course, which is, that's the way you do it. Like, you want to ease people in, you want people to have fun, and then you introduce stakes as the thing goes on. But the fact that, you know, of course, he pushed it past its limit, and of course, everything went to shit. And when he goes into that diner, he just kind of like stumbles in and just like chugs the water. It's like, where am I? Like, I don't think he would have gotten that kind of a joke in the first movie, but it worked in this one.
Yeah,
it was.
Well, and the little kid goes, Earth.
Yeah,
like, it's because he looked like a freaking spaceman.
Yeah, exactly. I love that shot. Like it was. I forgot that scene was even in there when I just watched it before we got on camera, and yeah, like I was like, that's definitely not from the first movie. That is new shit for sure. But it works in this one. I love that.
Yeah. No, I agree. So the next thing that I kind of mentioned that I like about the plot is when Maverick gets shot down, even though in hindsight it goes pretty quickly, you really kind of think it happened. They kind of make it out like, you know, we didn't see a parachute, you know, because of the age of this movie, like he's 40 years old or whatever it's supposed to be, you can believe, like, okay, did they really just kill off Maverick? And again, like Chewbacca's death and quote unquote death in The Rise of Skywalker, they could have played it out a little bit longer. But by the same token, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was so invested in this by the time that happened. I was like, wait, did they just kill him off? Did he just sacrifice himself for Goose's son? Like, is this like, seriously? I know I was thinking like, no. Like they made it believable to me anyway. I mean,
sorry, continue your point.
No, I was done. I was like, so go ahead.
I was so sucked in, even on the second watch here. And yes, I am ashamed to say this is only the second viewing, wow. Including the one in the theater when it was new. I don't remember how anyone learned that he was still alive. Like, why did Rooster go back for him?
He says at the end, he's like, this is what my dad would have done.
But
he wasn't just going to leave him.
No one knew that he survived, though. That's my point. Like, he got shot down, and they thought, at least, you know, back at the base, they thought he was dead. So how did Rooster know that he wasn't dead?
He didn't. It was basically one of those, like, we can't just leave him. You know, they weren't sure he was dead. They weren't sure he was alive. And Rooster was like, you know, it was kind of one of those, you saved me, so I'm going to save you if I can things.
So he turned around to see if Maverick was still alive?
That was my assumption.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I maybe missed something or something. But yeah. No, that was I thought in that moment in the first viewing that I thought maybe they were like you said, based on the age of the character and how long it had been, you know, so on and so forth, that maybe Tom Cruise is like, yeah, it's Maverick's time to die, and then maybe the rest of the movie is just everybody else surviving based on his sacrifice,
Yeah.
like, because they said it was going to be a dogfight all the way home. I was like, all right, so now we get to see everybody else fighting their asses off without Maverick to save their asses for a change. So I thought maybe that would be like the cathartic ending was, oh, we made it back thanks to Pete Mitchell. Man, I wish he was here.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. It was like he had done so many heroic things for everybody else that like that's the way to go out, like his heroic things finally are what ended up killing him in a way. Like I really thought that was like the end of Maverick, and I thought it was like, okay, well, how the hell are they going to get out of there?
Good thing they had an F-14.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it set up the final act nicely. And it leads to, in that final scene, like a great line that I kind of thought was, I didn't really consider it to be something they would come back to, but when Rooster tells him, during the training, when he's like, it's not the plane, it's the pilot. And he's like, Maverick's kind of like, yeah, that, I know, or that's what I'm afraid, something like that, basically kind of taking a dig at Rooster, like saying like, you're not good enough.
Right.
And then in the end, like when it comes down to, they're in the F-14 against, the fifth gen fighters. It's like, dude, like, yeah, it's the pilot, not the plane. Like, you better believe that now, or else we're dead. Like, so I thought it was cool how they came back, came back around to that and used it as an awesome kind of explanation for what was about to happen.
Can we talk about that for a second, by the way?
Sure.
The utter genericness of the enemy. What are they flying? 5th generation fighters. Oh, so you're not going to give like a real aircraft designation of any kind. We're not going to say what continent this takes place on or what country, or it's a terrorist group. Like, it's just the enemy. Oh, bandits. It's enemies and bandits, and they got a uranium processing facility. Okay, so someone's got nukes. That's all we know. We don't know what kind of planes they're flying. And, it's funny because I think the quote MiG-28s in the first movie, I think those were F-18s actually that they repainted as, but at least they said it was Russians. They said it was fucking Russia. Apparently we can't name any country now because God forbid we don't get box office receipts in whatever country we name.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, and they even wrote that in because when they were talking about the planes, when they were explaining the mission to the, to the Top Gun graduates, the first time, it was like, yeah, they're flying 5th gen fighters, and what little info we have, they basically said we don't really know shit. So they kind of explained it away that way. But I mean, you're right. If they were to come out and say like, oh yeah, this is in Iran,
a nuclear program, and they've got planes that can do all kinds of crazy shit, but we don't really know what
exactly. Yeah,
failure of intelligence that is.
Right. We're coming in low from the east. We're gonna hit them up the coast. Blah, 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 blah. What time are you leaving? That's classified. I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, but you're right. I mean, think about it. If they said, oh well, these are, because back in the 80s it was the Cold War. So if you said Russians, like everyone's like, yeah, fuck Russia. But now if you say, oh well, it's Afghanistan. Oh, how dare you, make it out to be an enemy, like like you said, someone's gonna get pissed. So they basically went, it's an enemy.
Yeah. So shooting at somebody. It's whoever you want it to be. I don't care.
I just kept picturing them as Russians. Maybe that's just I'm so ingrained in the Top Gun thing. I was like, yeah, they're Russians again. It's like Indiana Jones. You'll always have Nazis in Indiana Jones.
Yes, it's vaguely snowy. It's good enough.
Vaguely snowy. Yeah, it was Siberia. Like, okay,
but
so
not.
Yeah, let's not get in trouble. All right, so let's get to the important part here. The final part of my analysis, the nostalgia section, the quote unquote member berries, which I thought they did extremely well. I I really, really thought that it was handled so tastefully because there were a ton of Easter eggs, but it wasn't, like you've accused other movies that we've reviewed in the past. You said, it's just like they smack you in the face with it. It's just too obvious and too, garish, and I didn't think they did that with this one. I think they did it to the point where like, oh yeah, that's cool. I mean, even the Penny Benjamin thing. You're like, oh man, no way. They turned a whole character, they pulled that one out of one line of dialogue. Like that was cool. I mean, I think, we talked about the setup of the intro in the movie and the setup to everything, where you said, that he's got the old jacket and the old motorcycle. But yeah, I mean, they immediately show his workbench, which has a ton of pictures of him and Goose. So you're right back there. You're like, okay, like this is a guy that's dealing with, still the emotions of, his best friend, having lost his best friend, whatever. Which was cool. The quote unquote specter of Goose was in the movie, but it wasn't like dripping with it. It wasn't overriding. You didn't have Rooster kind of like doing any soliloquies about my dad and my dad this, my dad that, and that whole thing. Like, so I thought it was done really tastefully. I really like that. I do have the motorcycle and jacket, so good catch there. I thought that was really cool. Because in a way, what are you gonna excuse me, what are you gonna have? You're there for a Top Gun movie, you want to see that. So just give people that right off the bat, and yeah, fuck you, Aiken. I'm not putting that up on the screen, dickhead. You probably don't even like Top Gun Maverick. You don't even like Indiana Jones. You have terrible taste. I don't know what you're talking about. You like Kid Rock and you hate Indiana Jones. You are completely irrelevant. But
see, that we can agree on. Anyone who's a Kid Rock supporter, come on now. I'm not even getting political. His music's just trash.
Yes, 100%.
If someone can define what the fuck a ba with the ba is, then we can talk. But I think that's not even the baby's first word because it's not a fucking word.
No. But I mean, it is a huge hit, so I guess I can't really fault him for that. But yeah, I also thought
TikTok.
True. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I like how they immediately like show you right off the bat. See now here's someone we can talk to, because we have a naval veteran in the chat. My buddy Jimmy. See, he's even wearing his Navy hat in his profile picture there. Good to see you, bro. He says Tomcat scene at the end was the greatest big balls moment. Yeah. Oh, we're definitely getting there, Jimmy, because my brother's busy ripping the F-14. He doesn't like it. So that's basically, saying he doesn't like Top Gun, but that's okay. Yeah, I like how they immediately established that Maverick is still the rebel. It's not like, it's like he's aged and all of a sudden he's like wizened and calmed down and everything. Oh my God, I told you his opinion's irrelevant. But yeah, they just established with the whole test flight thing. He's like, yeah, we're still doing this. And then he won't come back down when the admiral tells him like, hey, get your ass down here. Like, we're not doing this mission.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, Maverick is still Maverick. So that was cool. Like they pretty much right off the bat tell you, you're here to see your favorite fighter pilot. That's what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So
what
I thought
a crazy
that was,
bit part for Ed Harris, by the way.
I know, right? I thought the same thing. It's like, I wonder how much they paid him for that. Like, but I mean, I guess it lends gravitas to it, makes it more important.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Aiken says, actually loved Maverick better than the original. No. Maverick is absolutely untouchably great, but Top Gun is a perfect film. The first one is just like ungodly good. So I will disagree with you there. I liked that they had Rooster playing Great Balls of Fire. That I think was the most obvious one they did. But I thought it was pretty cool. You kind of expected it when you saw a piano sitting there. And, I don't know about you, but I noticed that Rooster was kind of wearing the goose glasses. I kind of saw that right off the rip. But the way it was kind of, it, led to this like kind of flashback and kind of really kind of established that, Maverick is still haunted by this thing with Goose. I thought it was cool. I would have. I mean,
Yeah.
it would. Go ahead.
I made a note in here. I just put fantastic casting. Like, I actually had to look up after going to see the movie. Is that Anthony Edwards' son? Like, he looked enough like Goose that I had to check and see. And even, Hangman, for example, he had that like shit heel grin on his face, like Iceman did, to where I'm like, okay, we know who the archetypes are, because they cast people that totally could be, if they were just going to like remake the original, these are the people that would play those characters for sure.
I totally agree. My buddy Jimmy says glasses and the Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that could have been more on the nose and actually is when they actually spliced in footage of the original movie.
Yeah.
So I thought him playing the piano and playing the song was like a perfect way to be like, yeah, if you remember it, you remember it, and if you don't, well, we're going to tell you anyway in flashbacks. So
yeah, so at least you'll get it.
Right.
Now, did you notice what the name of the bar was?
I did not.
The Hard Deck. So
I've
I
heard
like
Penny
that.
Benjamin loves a good hard deck.
The views of the Nerf Herder Council do not necessarily. Yeah, they show that like at the end. I think it's when he's walking in his service whites, when he's going to tell her that, yeah, hey, I'm actually flying the mission.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could see it. Like I was like, oh, dude, seriously, like that was so cool. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And yeah, I mean, they just do everything so subtly. Like I said, like it's not so in your face. It's like you noticed it, but it doesn't take away from everything else that you're watching. It plays along with the plot and the new characters and everything that's going on very, very well.
I don't know. This goes back to our definition of what is cheesy, because I don't think the fact that the enemy happened to have one specific type of relic aircraft that happened to be the exact one that was flown in the first movie, I don't think that's subtle. It could have been an F-15, which is the same goddamn aircraft with fixed wings, but no, we got to make it an F-14.
They don't want to be Top Gun. They could do it one time.
Could have been an F-18.
Listen to this asshole, like you know your planes. Please.
I don't think there is an F-17. I wish our cousin was in the chat. He'd tell us.
Yeah, he would know. Jimmy, is there an F-17? Tell us. You worked on an aircraft carrier. Yeah, dude, look, they can do it once.
So that is a note that I put, and this is not specific to the movie. This is just something I noted, during the montage at the beginning with the aircraft carrier and the planes landing and everything else. Isn't it crazy that like we're 40 years on from the original, and the best way to land a plane on an aircraft carrier is still to plummet towards the deck and then hope that your ass hook grabs a rope. Like, of all the technological advancements we made, a rope is the best chance of not dying while landing on an aircraft carrier.
Well,
it's just incredible that, some things just don't go out of style, I guess. Like we still use wheels are still wheels, no matter how many, decades or over a century now we've had automobiles, I
mean, what are you going to do, though? I mean, with the speed they have to go, I mean, how are you going to slow down that fast?
I know. It's just funny
that short space, that runway on the carrier.
Well, yeah. And of course, what do you do if you don't have a front landing gear? We'll just throw up a big net. And it's real. I know it's real, but like, it's so rudimentary. You'd think we'd have something like higher tech, or like land in the water on a nice flat plane, and then we'll like fish you out the ocean or something. No, just crash into the deck. We'll throw a net up. It's all good.
All right, you're getting called out. Jimmy says, bro, F-15 is Air Force. I'm taking over for AJ in this cast.
The Navy does not have F-15s, which makes sense because I'm guessing the folding wings is probably to preserve space on the deck of an aircraft carrier.
Oh, wait, why wouldn't I'm not even gonna. We're getting very military here, and I don't want to make an ass of myself. I'll leave that to the professionals.
Real estate is at a premium on a ship. So any way you can make the plane smaller, it's a good thing.
True.
Hey, I was right.
Jimmy says that you are correct. There we go.
Yep. Folding wings
All
and
right.
all that other stuff. Yeah.
So, two more things that were huge to me. I already mentioned it, but the Ice Maverick relationship still being a thing, I thought was really cool.
Yep.
That's, and again, something that was handled very, very tastefully. They weren't competing or anything like that. It was cool. They showed that Ice made Admiral and Maverick was a captain, and but they had remained close and all that kind of stuff. And I just again, it was awesome that they had him actually speak the last few lines, because that really is like, oh my God, this is important. But then they kind of pulled a Top Gun move when he's like, who's the best pilot? He's like, this is a nice moment. Let's not ruin it. Like that little bit of humor in there to like make it too heavy. So I thought I really liked that. And the last note on my page, it says the F-14. Dude, masterful. I don't give a fuck what you say about it, because you are wrong. It was awesome. They spent the whole movie not beating you about the head and shoulders with the nostalgia. They sprinkled it in nicely. So at the end, they're like, guess what? It's Top Gun, asshole. Here we go. It was amazing. And it wasn't like it happened like halfway through the movie. You know what I mean? Like, dude, they flew one thing with it, and it was cool. If after 40 years, it's not like they're making a succession of these things. Like it's not like a Friday the 13th movie where Jason's going to hack people to death in a hockey mask every damn movie. You're going to see the hockey mask. No, it's the second one. They're not going to make anymore. So you've got to have the F-14 in there somewhere. And they did it in a cool way. It was like, how the hell are we going to get out of here? Oh, there just so happens to be an F-14. Okay. Is it cheesy? Okay. If you think it's cheesy, fine. But I don't think it's eye roll cheesy. To me, that's one of those, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, dude, it's like, I had the same reaction like when they brought back the Millennium Falcon in The Force Awakens. Like the piece of garbage will do. And then all of a sudden she turns and there it is. And I'm like, yes! Like the F-14, like, you're like, yes, because you know what you're gonna get. And then of course they have him outduel the 5th gen fighter, two of them. He basically uses the one he kind of shot down as a flare, which was an awesome maneuver.
That was cool. That was really cool.
So and basically like that's where the whole it's not the plane, it's the pilot thing comes into play. I thought it was done incredibly well.
Okay, so here's where I will absolutely give it credit. He didn't win. Like if they had shown it like this, it is a relic. I mean, you got 40 years of fighter technology development. There is no way that plane, no matter how good the pilot is, should have won out against superior technology, superior firepower, and superior numbers. Like, oh my God, there's what was it, 3? I think it ended up being 3 or 4.
What did he fought in the Tomcat?
Yeah, he took out 2, and then the third one came on nose first.
Oh yeah.
So a 3-on-1 scenario in a 40-year-old plane, he shouldn't win, but you can stay alive long enough to have someone else save your ass. So I like that. If he had been like, I shot down 3 planes with a 40-year-old plane. I mean, you're good, but come on.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was just like, oh shit. Oh, thank God they're out of planes. Like that was.
Well, and
that was the best way to do it.
And they did it the perfect amount because she's like, well, Maverick shot down 2. Now he's got 5. That makes him an ace. Like that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of cool that they did that. And I mean, did they need to have it be an F-14? No, but they had to get off of the island or whatever the hell they were on. They had to get out of there somewhere in some kind of plane. And would it have been as cool if
we call that enemy territory, and we will not get any more specific than that.
Right? We don't want to get in trouble.
We can confirm it was land.
But was it a glacier that had topographical shit on it? Maybe it was like
unclear.
fake.
The intelligence was not good on this mission.
That's true. We don't. Well, let's keep it clean. We don't want to get busted and thrown off the air for implying anything. Yeah, think about it, dude. Like, yeah, you know they got to use a plane to get the hell out of there. Would it have worked with any other plane? Of course. But would it have been nearly as cool if it wasn't the F-14?
I do wonder why they had to write in that little thing of like, Rooster couldn't eject. It didn't work. Like, I mean, especially knowing how his dad went out, the fact that ejecting was what killed him.
Well, I think that's why. Because they're like, oh, he's got to do what Goose did. Like,
Well, ejecting, that would have been the stakes. Is like, oh, shit, we have to eject. We know what ejecting does to navigators. Instead, it's like, oh, he can't even do it. So I guess that threat's eliminated.
Yeah, but I mean,
I thought it was going to be more dramatic about like how do they survive after all of that. Like when they're flying in, they don't have a front landing strut, for example, and it's like, well, shit, do we have to crash this in the ocean then? Especially when they're like, we can't eject, so it's not like we can just like, pull the escape and then let the plane crash into the ocean without us. Like, okay, so now we can't ditch the plane. Huh. I thought it was going to be a little bit dicier getting home safely was my point.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I mean, you already
I'm
survived the
Memphis
mission.
Belle. Remember Memphis Belle? I mean,
of course I remember.
That was the whole thing. Was like the mission was a success. Getting back alive from the mission was the real drama.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that was kind of the point of the movie in a way, though. With this one though, dude, I mean, they survived the mission first of all, then they escape enemy territory in like a 40-year-old plane, and so he gets in a dogfight with these 5th-gen fighters that are supposed to be like superior to anything, and they come out on top. Now you want to be like, oh, he's crashing into the water. It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I think that might have been a little bit of overkill. Would have been like, okay, like seriously, like that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, so, I watched too much YouTube. Is every time they said 5th-gen fighter, I'm thinking like, oh, so it's like an N64 versus PS5,
right?
Because video games are always like the generation of console, and like PS5 is very obviously a 5th-generation console.
Yeah,
actually, it's not. It's like a 7th-generation console. But you get my point.
Yeah, I get your point. And one last thing, the end shot before the credits roll, how they recreated the end shot from the first movie, where it's the planes flying off into the sunset. It's like the exact same thing. It's like, yeah, like only this is just Maverick in his own plane. But yeah, I just thought that was cool. It's like, yeah, here's even with the credits, they kind of did it. I was like, yeah. So the song wasn't nearly
my final notes. Yeah, my final note is OST, original soundtrack, is good, but the original is better.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I mean, Mighty Wings, the Cheap Trick tune, that song rules.
Dude, that's in my gym playlist. When I'm coaching, I put that on.
My wife doesn't think that's a good song. I'm like, you are clearly on drugs. You probably might wanted the MIGs to win in that movie. That's what I told her. I was like, if you can't get into the...
That's the thing. Everyone goes to Danger Zone, but man, Mighty Wings is really a fucking banger.
But I mean, those two make the soundtrack along with the, of course, along with the Top Gun theme on guitar, Steve Stevens. So,
right.
But, all right, man. Well, yeah. So those are my thoughts. Overall, for me, it really was kind of a perfect sequel. I never expected it to be great, and I really didn't expect it to be pretty much perfect. I left the movie going, what in the hell? Like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can argue other sequels easily enough, but I don't think you can argue other sequels that were like 30 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Movies like that, I mean, they usually are just like, this was not that. I was just
I'm not going to say that.
shocked
I'm
how
not going
great
to
it
say
was.
this Empire Strikes Back level, but it had Empire Strikes Back's job of following up, as you said, a perfect movie, and it stands alongside it. I won't say it's better, so I got to disagree with Aiken on that one, but it is a worthy successor, and that is high praise for a movie as good as its predecessor was.
Yeah. No, it was. I mean, and my buddies also did the same thing. Like we were saying it during the movie. Like we're just kind of whispering to each other, like, I can't believe how good this is. Like this is. I did not expect this at all, and it was because I was fully prepared to have my heart broken because Top Gun is on such an incredible, like, high level for me, and especially it was always like one of my all time favorites. But then when which I didn't know this until after he passed, but it was our cousin Marty's favorite movie. I had no idea. So then it was kind of cool.
I mean,
yeah, I was like, I kind of flash. Yeah, very much so. And you flash back to all the times we watched it with him and stuff like that, and like how into it we were together. And it's like, so this movie's built up to this legendary status in my mind, and I'm just so afraid that the sequel is just going to take a shit on that legacy. It's just, and the fact that it didn't, in fact, it enhanced it. I just thought it was brilliant. I loved it. Look at Jimmy. Just wait till Spaceballs 2 comes out. I'm calling it now. Amazing. Yeah, that's one that I'm going into exactly the way I went into Maverick 2 or Top Gun Maverick. Like, oh God, please don't pop my balloon. Please don't. I hope Mel Brooks being near 100 means he actually doesn't mind like doing some offensive or piss people off shit. That would be glorious. But so
what do you burn down his reputation on the way out?
Right? He's like, I'll be gone anyway. Like, what the fuck? So,
right.
All right. Before we get out of here, your final thoughts on Top Gun Maverick. And if you rip the F-14 again, I'm just gonna dump you and close out myself.
I would love to have something unique to say on this side of the camera, but I agree with you. Like we went into it, it was all hype and it paid off. I don't have a dissenting opinion to share on it. I watching it a second time, it was still just as enjoyable. Like it's what they call a popcorn flick. Like you know what you're going to get, and it delivered on it. So that's the best thing I can say about it is that the first one was not high art. It was a fun movie, and the second one was also a fun movie. So it didn't try to be more than it ever was supposed to be in the first place, and it stands alongside the original as a great companion piece, and that's all you can ask for of a proper sequel. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't even know if I can call it a popcorn flick in a way. I mean, you said because you said like you're going in knowing what you're going to get. I don't think that was the case here. I think you didn't know what you were going to get. I think you know what you hoped you would get, but you weren't sure. So it was a crapshoot type of a thing. I mean, you knew it was going to be like a blockbuster. I mean, you knew that the flying scenes were going to be untouchably great because number one, you have to have that in a Top Gun movie. But number two, with Tom Cruise's recent career where he's going balls out with the stunts and the crazy shit, like, he's going to do that in this movie too. So, I mean, you knew that part was going to be great, but then it's like, okay, well, can the entire movie be sustained just on fighter pilot stuff? And like I say, like I thought it was a great story. I thought it had, more than enough of the nostalgia sprinkled in, but it wasn't heavy handed. So it was just like, dude, that's why I used the word perfect when I was thinking like perfect sequel. Like, dude, yeah, like for me anyway. I mean, this was just unbelievably great. I'm with you. I won't agree with Aiken and say it's better than the original, but man, it is damn close in terms of quality. And I think if Top Gun, the first one didn't exist, imagine what people would be thinking about this movie in general. I mean, if you just say, yeah, well, this guy has been a fighter pilot in the back in the 80s. He was like awesome at Top Gun, but his Rio died and, it stuck with him all these years. And now here's Top Gun Maverick. I think the movie could stand on its own with that. You know,
I would
really
love to
can.
hear that perspective, actually. Do we know anyone who hasn't seen the first one?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm going to try
Quick,
and find
does someone know a child?
Yeah, right. I'm going to ask some of my
Anyone?
coworkers.
Right. Anyone under the age of 30. We'll take anybody. Like, come on, someone.
I would love to. That's a really good question. I would love to know that. I'll have to find that out. But yeah, that's a good question. So, all right. Well, anyway, on that note, why don't we close up shop? We will jump out for tonight, and I want to thank everybody for hanging out for another episode of the Nerf Herder Council, especially everybody on the Virtual Cantina Network. Oh, wait, they weren't tuned in because I forgot to include their YouTube channel in our destinations tonight. So that was
fantastic.
yeah. So in any case, they missed a great episode, but that's okay because they'll be on in a couple episodes because they really want to talk about the fact that they think Ghostbusters Afterlife is better than Top Gun Maverick. So that is going to be a spirited discussion because they are wrong.
Oh, I see what you did there.
See, pretty quick. But yeah, so we're gonna get Spencer and one of the other guys on, and they dispute our take on that. They think that the Ghostbusters reboot was better than Top Gun Maverick, and Ghostbusters Afterlife is a great movie. It's a fun movie, but it is nowhere near on the level of Top Gun Maverick, and we will be disputing that, or debating it, as it were. So, but yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Cale McLeish, great to see you. Jimmy Lever, thanks for tuning in, dude. Great to see you, man. John Phillips, all you guys, appreciate it. We'll be right back here at these locations, along with the YouTube channel of the Virtual Cantina Network. Well, AJ will be here, in any case, on Wednesday, March 25th, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I will not be, but AJ will be here. I don't know what he's decided to do, but it's his show, so we can do whatever the hell he wants. So,
Yeah, I don't know specifically what. It'll be Star Wars based, and I will do my best to make it Darth Maul based, because before we are back on the show again, we will have the premiere of Maul Shadow Lord on Disney Plus. So maybe it's time to talk some Darth Maul. I don't know what the angle is on that, but I'll figure it out. Stay tuned to our socials. We'll let you know.
There you go. So yeah, so he'll be talking Star Wars and some Darth Maul on Wednesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Guys, once again, do not forget that we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you are watching on our YouTube channel and have not done so, please click the like button, click the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. If you would like to get some Virtual Cantina Network swag, go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And for customizable Nerf Herder Council swag in any combination you could think of with multiple logos, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. So, guys, as I said, AJ will be right back here on Wednesday, March 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
Back on Twitter at DrakeAdams579.
And we will catch you next time. Or rather, AJ will catch you next time.
This bucket of bolts is never gonna get us past that blockade.
This bucket's got a few surprises left in her. Plus, me and Chewie are on it. Ain't that right, Chewie?
Hell yeah, you my Nerf herder.
You my Nerf herder.